Were you around when Steve Austin had his little run in ECW?
Yeah, I first started wrestling in ECW. Well, I started appearing in ECW around. I started showing up around like September of '95, and then I went to the then hotel of ECW before we got kicked out. It was called the Travel Lodge, which many of us dubbed the Cylinder of Sin because it was a spherical building, and so many things that happened in that building. You should just put a condom on the building from the roof down just to quarantine it. But the first time I interacted with Steve Austin was at the Travel Lodge, and we went there. I went there to grab Raven and Stevie, and Steve Austin came along for the ride. And being young and stupid, and just having a car for the first time, being green with having a car, I kept every spare tire I ever owned in the trunk of my car, because God forbid maybe I get 4 flats at the same time. Who knows? Being young and stupid. So Raven gets in the front seat, Stevie gets in the back, and Austin was like, "Hey, can I throw my bag in your trunk?" And I open it up, and there's like 4 spare tires. He goes, "God damn, kid." So Steve Austin has this big bag, and he squeezes it in the back of my Dodge Aspen, which looked like an undercover cop car at the time. And he's sitting there. I'm like, man, Steve Austin must really hate me right now. But that was my first interaction with Steve Austin, was cramming him in the back seat of my 1977 Dodge Aspen to take him on thank God, a short trip from the Travel Lodge to the ECW arena. But Steve was cool. To this day, Steve Austin's a great guy. He is the same guy, bionic redneck, metalhead, lover of all things cool, and even though he's probably, Steve Austin could easily be on the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling, just as being a draw in this business, but he's still the most down-to-earth dude there is, and the wrestling business is better for having him in it, because I know guys who, when I went to the WWE, there's guys who worked for WWE during the Hogan era, and there's guys who worked in WWE during the Steve Austin era, and they said, they compared, what they did, and Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan brought the wrestling business out of the smoky arenas and stuff like that, and brought it to the bright lights. But then, during that, that period of that downtime, when wrestling was really in the lean years, Steve Austin, lit the cannon, and boom, the business exploded, with Steve Austin, and then The Rock, and then Triple H, and the Attitude Era. But, a lot of that Attitude Era came from ECW, and fortunately Steve Austin was part of both.